talk about how to identify and represent shaded and non-shaded parts of one whole as a fraction. Let's get into it with our I will statements.
Remember, your I will statements are your goals for this lesson. They are what we are trying to work on and learn more about throughout our time together today. As we continue on in our lesson, make sure you have your mind focused on these three things and showing them to your teacher. I will read the I will statement first, and then we will read it again a second time together. Make sure you're reading it nice and loudly so I can hear you, but no shouting necessary.
Listen as I read the first one. I will understand a whole is composed of different fractional units. Read that one with me. I will understand a whole is composed of different fractional units. Let's look at the second one. I will draw unit fractions. Read that one with me. I will draw unit fractions. And our last one, listen to me first. I will compare fractions in both unit form and fraction form. Read that with me. I will compare fractions in both unit form and fraction form. Nice job, mathematicians. Let's get into our warm-up activity. You will just need your whiteboards for this activity, and you'll need to be able to see the screen clearly. For our warm-up activity, we are going to be practicing skip counting by halves using a clock. I will show you a different clock on the screen, and for the first couple, I want you to help me identify what time is it. What time is it on the clock you see on the screen? Pause and write it on your whiteboards now. The first clock shows 1 o'clock. Now, if we're skip counting by halves, we can make a guess at what the next time will be. Let's use the clock to help us too. Pause the video and write what time you see on the second clock. The last clock showed 1:30. What does this next clock show? Write it on your whiteboards. The last clock read 2 o'clock. I'm seeing a pattern here. 1, 1:30, 2. Let's look at this next clock. Write the time on your whiteboards. The final time reads 2:30 on this clock. Nicely done, mathematicians. Now the pattern I see here is 1, 1:30, 2, 2:30. I want you to continue as a class in unison saying the pattern until we get to 10 o'clock. Let's go from what we have so far. 1 o'clock, 1:30. Say it with me. 2 o'clock, 2:30. Keep going. 3 o'clock, 3:30. 4 o'clock, 4:30. 5 o'clock, 5:30. 6 o'clock, 6:30. 7 o'clock, 7:30. 8 o'clock, 8:30. 9 o'clock, 9:30. 10 o'clock. Nicely done, mathematicians. We just skip counted by halves using a clock to help us. Fractions are in time and different places that we might not expect it, but that was a good way for us to see how we can combine two math concepts we've been talking about into one idea. Let's get into our activity for today. For this activity, I'm going to show you the following image on the screen. This is a clear glass jar. I want you to filled with water, and I want you to whisper the fraction of liquid that you see to your partner now. Pause the video and share your answers with your partner. The fraction represented in the picture on the screen is 1/2. What about the part that is not full of water? If we were to think, could that be a fraction too? And why or why not? I want you to pause the video right now. Raise your hands if you think that the part that is not filled with water in our container can be represented by a fraction. Raise your hand if you agree, and then take a poll and raise your hand to see who disagrees. Pause the video and come back after you take a poll. Even though parts not be full of water or shaded in if you're drawing an area model, they are still parts of the whole. We're going to explore this idea more today. Your teacher is going to hand out a sheet of paper and you're going to work together to portion it into equal parts. Just to be sure of three things. Just be sure of three things while you're doing this activity. The parts should be equal. So while you're folding your paper, you want to make sure that you take time to fold even parts. You want to make sure there are no less than 5 and no more than 20 parts in all. So don't fold your paper until you cannot fold it anymore. Fold it into the same amount that your teacher demonstrates. And you're going to use the entire sheet of paper. So you want to fold it so the paper represents the whole itself. You are going to follow along with your teacher as you complete this activity, working more in discussing how to represent a whole using the shaded and non-shaded parts of a fraction. Good luck, mathematicians, and I'll see you guys soon.